Hello, Zimbabwe. I'm Dr. Charles Mugaviri, your host for the Legacy Building Leaders TV show, where we feature men and women who are game changers and solution providers from different sectors of our economy. In today's show, we are joined by Mr. Menas Msongelwa, a historian, a president of the History Teachers of Zimbabwe, and also the president of the History Teachers Association for Africa. Mr. Msongelwa is also an author and a passionate historian.
Hi, how are you? My name is Menas Msongelwa, popularly known as Mr. Omoso. I was born in Kwekwe at Kwekwe General Hospital. I grew up in Kwekwe in Mbizo. I was staying in Mbizo 5. I went to Mtonjeni, a primary school, then proceeded to Loreto for my O level. Then I went to Rio Tinto Zombe High School for my A level. I then went to a Hillside Teachers College where I trained as a teacher from 2002 to 2003. After finishing at Hillside Teachers College, I started teaching in Nkai. My first school was known as Sembeole. Deep down there, Machonyonyo at Sembeole. I taught there for about a year. Then I moved to another school called Hadane, deep again down in Kai. I taught there. I moved. I came to Midlands province, came to Kwekwe, started to teach at Samambwa. This school was known as the Sama Dogs. Down there in Zombe, I taught there for about 4 years. Then I moved to Rio Tinto Zombe High School, where I taught up to 2010. In 2011, I moved to Kwekwe High, where I am currently teaching. I am a history teacher by profession. I'm a historian. I eat history. I sleep history. I love history. I breathe history. I'm a history by making. My journey as a teacher has been so much exciting. I've scooped almost everything from being the best teacher in the district for so many years. I was scooping this award to being the best teacher in the Midlands province. So for so many years, I have been the best teacher in the Midlands province. In 2017, I was elected to become the president of History Teachers of Zimbabwe. This is an association of history teachers coming together, discussing, formulating what should be done in schools in regards to history. Then in 2018, I now became the president of history in the whole of Africa. This association is called Association of History Teachers and Lecturers in Africa, where we meet, we discuss, we research, we write our columns on modules discussing about history teaching, and also where we try to integrate ICT in our education. I have written textbooks that are done in our curricula in Zimbabwe. I wrote 2 textbooks with Arthur Marara, a renowned motivator and also an author. I also wrote another book with Shamiso Sibanda, a renowned historian teaching at Mount Pleasant High School, where we only focused on tropical history and Chaka the Zulu. We dwelt much on the history of tropical Africa. I also wrote novels inspiring students, making students to be confident about themselves, making students to realize their greatness, to see that they can make it despite coming from disadvantaged backgrounds. These books are, number 1, the destiny, the right steps to success, and also towards your destiny. I love teaching. I love students. I have created so many groups, WhatsApp groups, more than 20 of them, where I teach students using audio lessons, posting notes, and also teaching them how to attempt questions that they eventually write come the end of the year. I also teach students using the Facebook platform. I go on live usually on Saturdays, on Sunday, teaching, impacting students on Facebook. So many of my history lessons there are on YouTube. I've recorded almost everything on Zimbabwean history and also on European history. I've gone also a step further and did question and answers on my YouTube channel. So history students, they can know about history if they go to my YouTube channel where everything about history is there. That is what I can say. Thank you.
From humble beginnings in Kwekwe, Mr. Muso's legacy is now shining across Africa and the globe. Mr. Muso's legacy is inspiring young people in Zimbabwe and all over Africa. In the next segment, we are going to see Mr. Muso engage with two learners from Kwekwe.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
My name is Patience Ngwe, and I'm the head leader of the Leos Club as well as the sports prefect at Kwekwe High School. So I'm going to be asking you a couple questions. So how best can parents and teachers assist learners who have been affected by coronavirus, yet they are writing at the end of this year?
That is good. It's a good question. I will start with teachers. Teachers, they can assist students during this period of COVID-19 in so many ways. I'm a teacher by a profession. Possibly I'm going to tell you how I'm assisting my students during this particular period of time. I formed WhatsApp groups. I'm teaching Form 4s, all the classes in a Form 4. So I formed WhatsApp groups. So in those groups at 9 o'clock p.m. every day, Monday to Friday, they log in. You just write your name, Peter Jones, for Orange. Then you write starting reading. Then at 12 p.m. you write end of study. You do that every day from Monday up to Friday. Then I also post audios. What I've done, I've recorded all our topics in our syllabus, Zimbabwean, European history. I post all the audios, like for example, a topic. For example, today I post a topic. Then after posting a topic, students will listen. Then in the classroom now, I will just explain what I posted in the group. So students, you've been assisted by that method. And also, I've got lessons on YouTube. I've got lessons on Facebook. Students, they can buy bundles. Then you start listening to History with Muso, enjoying history. Parents can also assist their students, their children during this particular period of time by just checking what their children are doing at school. After work, they can open books, then they can make a follow-up on what they did at school. So by so doing, our students can be assisted.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
My name is Royce Marunya, and I'm an upper 6 student at Kwekwe High School, and currently I'm the vice head boy. So I understand that you have managed to use technology in delivering history lessons. So how do you do that, and how have learners received it?
Learners are so much excited with what I'm doing, using technologies that we have. I've got 3 technologies that I'm using. Number 1, I'm using WhatsApp. What do I do using WhatsApp? I record audios, telling students about history events that occurred long ago. When I record an audio, I post it in a group, then students can listen. I'm so much excited. You know that when this COVID thing started, there were some students, those who are visually impaired. They so much benefited. You know, they were listening, enjoying history. You know, when I'm teaching history, I'll be like, hey. So they were so much excited about what was taking place. And they did well. Those who wrote in June last year, several of them, they managed to do well. So I'm posting audios using WhatsApp groups. I post also PDFs and notes using WhatsApp groups. I also teach on Facebook. I do Facebook live, and also I also upload those lessons on Facebook. I upload them on YouTube. So because of that now, students are benefiting. So you just go to my site, Menas Msongelwa, on the YouTube site, then you enjoy history.
Okay, thank you. So what is your advice for the candidates who are currently writing, who are facing concentration problems to understand what they're writing, what they're reading?
Oh, those students, they can also be assisted. I wrote a novel, The Right Steps. I wrote a chapter on how to study. It's called Study Guide, whereby students, they can wake up at 12. You, for example, you come from school around 4 or 5, you do your chores. After doing your chores, 8 o'clock, you go and sleep. 12 o'clock, you wake up. Then when you wake up, you start what? Reading up to 1 o'clock. After 1 o'clock, you prepare a cup of tea, you drink water, you just recite what you were reading, go back to your books again, read another subject. After that now, after an hour, you take a break. Then the last hour now, you do question and what and answers. So by so doing now, it means that what you are reading, you are not going to forget it. Why? It is because you read, you started to chew what you were reading. After that now, you started to do practice questions on what you are reading. Come exams, boom, 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 100% you get an A.
You do your work with so much passion and excitement. Having written novels and history textbooks, what advice and word of encouragement can you give to young people out there who aspire to be authors and educators, just like you, Mr. Muso?
You know what, Royce? When I grew up in Mbizo, in Kwekwe, I did not know that greatness, this greatness that was in me. I just thought that I'm a ghetto man, I'm a ghetto boy, I'm just an ordinary person. But you know what? Every person has got a seed. There is a seed of greatness. I was just going to school like what other students were doing, but I did not realize that there is something great inside me, just like a bird. A bird is not taught how to fly. It's automatic. Inside the blade, there is a flight mode to what to fly. A fish, it just swims. It's inside the fish, just like a person, just like you students. You've got that greatness, that drive, that passion. What is your passion? What is your dream? What is your vision? Write down your vision. I want to. Oh, you can do anything that you want to do in life. Only if you realize that you can do it despite your background, despite your place of origin, despite your name. You know, my surname is Muso. I said, Muso. This surname like this, it means poverty and it means starvation. No, it means greatness. So it does not matter whether your name is known as what or what. You can be a great person and publish books like what I'm done. Like what you can see, one of my students at Kwekwe High, Tapua Chirenje, he drew me here. I was lecturing and historicizing what students, Musolifying students about history. You see what he did. He's being inspired. So you can also do like what this guy at Tapua Chirenje in 4 Orange at Kwekwe High did to me.
Mr. Muso's legacy revolves around inspiring and empowering young people, as we have seen him engage and interact with learners from Kwekwe. In the last segment, we are going to listen to Mr. Muso as we look closely at his legacy and his story that has made him a shining example as a history teacher. So, Mr. Muso, you have a very interesting background. You grew up in a community of both Shonas and Ndeveles, although you are Ndevele yourself. But from where you are now, you are almost more Shona than you are Ndevele because of your association. But let's look at your professional background. I mean, how did you end up choosing to be a teacher and a history teacher for that matter?
It was at Loreto High School in Silobela. There was a teacher who was known as Mr. Mataranyika. That man, he was bad news in terms of teaching history. When he was teaching you, by then teachers were using chalks for writing on the board. You could cut down the chalk. His clothes were white and he was enjoying teaching history. So that on its own drove me to love history. But for me to be a teacher, I realized it when I was in upper 6. When I was in upper 6, I wanted to be a nurse or to be a teacher. I wanted just to assist people. You know, teachers, they assist students to do well, they guide them. Nurses, they also assist those who are not feeling well. So that is what I wanted to do. So when I finished writing my last paper for FRIS, by then it was known as Divinity, I just said, no, I just want to be a teacher. That explains why soon after finishing my A level, I went straight to Hillside Teachers College.
So purpose has got an important role if someone is going to enjoy their career. Because when I look at you and your legacy, you are full of motivation and inspiration. You love what you do. Clearly so. That's what is driving you. What's the importance of that? You know, just someone finding what they truly love. I mean, because there are people out there who are stuck. People who are enduring and not enjoying what they are doing. What is the importance of this motivation, self-motivation and passion, you know, if one is following their career?
You go wherever you want. You fulfill whatever you dreamt of. You know what? I'm a teacher, but 2018, I went to Italy. I was in Rome, where I presented. I was the only African or the black person. Yes, I presented where the room was full of whites. I went there. I went to South Africa. I presented there. I went to Dodoma, Tanzania. I presented there. I went to Kenya. I presented there. Your dreams will be fulfilled because you are doing from the heart. You are not pushed, but it's coming from the heart. And you know what, Doc? If you do what is coming from your heart, you always get what you want. People will recognize you because it's coming from your heart. You are not pushed. You'll be full of confidence and also motivation from inside.
Yeah, I mean, that's very exciting. That's very powerful. You're highly motivated. And maybe the lesson there for our, viewers is that, when one is choosing a career, choose what you love, choose what you'd enjoy, because it is that which will then drive you, to reach heights. And like you say, there's no limit to how far one can go. The subject of history is so critical to a nation and to nation building. And when you look at our history, as Zimbabweans and also as Africans in general, there are some distortions, in that history. You may want to comment on that. What are some of the distortions that you have seen as a historian? And then maybe how are you correcting that, as historians?
There are several, Doc. Let me start with the history of Great Zimbabwe. You know, our country, Zimbabwe, it derived its name from Great Zimbabwe. So Great Zimbabwe is so significant in Zimbabwe. The early writings, they wrote that Africans, they were savages, they were bloodthirsty, they were warmongers, they were uncivilized people. That is what they wrote. And they to say that Africans, they did not have that capability of building Great Zimbabwe. So they to dismiss the building of Great Zimbabwe to the Africans. So other historians, they wrote information now correcting those misnomers that had been given by the Eurocentric ideologies. So it is now our duty to rewrite again, research more, and give the accurate information on these states, especially a Great Zimbabwe. We can also talk about the liberation struggle. A lot of information that was written on the liberation struggle, it was written by the whites. It is our duty as historians now to again rewrite the correct information, the correct history on what transpired during the liberation struggle.
And I notice from a leadership coaching perspective, which is what we do, on a regular basis, a lot of our people suffer from a negative self-image. We tend to look down on ourselves, as African people. Is it because of the history again? And are there issues that we may need to deal with, which can then help us to have a positive self-image and have confidence, which will then help us in nation building?
Yes, Doc, it is our history. You know that the curricula that was done during the colonial period, it was a curricula that was making Africans to become carpenters, to become people who are good in sewing, people who are good in doing the work using the hands. So that on its own led Africans to be looked down upon. They started to be seen as unimportant citizens in the country. So that is where we should start. And now conscientize our children, conscientize people in the society that you can become a great person. We can become a person who could be admired by so many people in the country, and you can also occupy an important position in any company, or you can stay at any city that you might want to stay. It's only in the mind. So the mindset should be should be changed.
So really, as we conclude this, Mr. Muso, there are things we have done in the past as African people, great victories, great achievements that maybe as historians you need to bring back and record and so that when we see those victories about what we have accomplished in the past, they can also motivate us and inspire us as we, become architects of our future. Yes. So when all is said and done, Mr. Muso, what do you want to be remembered for? What is your legacy?
I want to transform. I want to inspire this generation. That's why I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher by blood. It's in me. I want these kids to do their best, to perform, to do their best, to do well at school, and also teaching them morality, good morals, so that when they grow up in the society, they won't be deviants, but they could be role models, and by so doing now, we could have a good country.
Thank you, Mr. Muso, and may your legacy continue to shine.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been privileged today to listen to the legacy building leadership story of Mr. Muso, who is inspiring young people, both in class but also online. If you have got a story that can inspire others, like we have seen from Mr. Muso, who approached us because of his legacy, please feel free to contact us on the details on the screen. Meet you in the following episode of the Legacy Building Leaders TV show. My name is Dr. Charles Mugaviri.